That was a great No, it wasn't.
It's bird dog.
Order the Schenectady Urban Renewal Agency. First item is acceptance of the minutes from our June 28th meeting. Entertain a motion to move. All meeting moves. I have a second. Porterfield. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are adopted. Next item is the 2022-01 resolution for the acceptance of the investment report for 2021. Entertain a motion to approve it. Moved by Palomino.
Second.
Adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Report is adopted. Next item is the acceptance of the procurement report for 2021. Entertain a motion by Mr. Palomini, seconded.
Second.
Mr. Woodbury. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Report is adopted. The next item is acceptance of the measurement report for 2021. Entertain a motion to approve by Mr. Palomini, second by Mr. Toro. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Report is adopted. This item is the acceptance of the annual report for 2021. Moved by Mr. Palomini, second by Porterfield. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution is adopted. Any other business to come before the agency? Move to adjourn. Palomini, second. Porterfield. Thank you. Sorry it took so long.
I'd like to call to order the Schenectady City Council Committee for Monday, May 16th, 2022. The first committee is Finance.
Thank you. Call to order finance. The first item is the 2021 Bulletproof Vest Partnership Grant.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is a yearly grant we apply for through New York State, and the formula we use is the number of officers that need replacement vests every year, 5-year expiration date on it, and anticipated new hires. That's the funding that they give us. The 50% match is already within our budget. We budget every year during the budget cycle, so there's no additional funds other than what's already budgeted. So, any questions? I'll answer.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
That was faster than that.
Yeah. The next item is the adoption of the 2022-2023 action plan allocation. Ms. Cristina.
Good evening, everyone. So this is related to our community development block grant, emergency solutions grant, and home investment partnerships funding that is received annually. As you know, we just closed the comment period. We had the public hearing, and we are now proposing for the adoption of the proposed annual action plan. One of the things that we're waiting for is our final allocation from HUD. So we have not got the formal word on that, but we're moving to adopt it and move it forward so that we can, and then once we receive the final, we'll probably come back to just show you what that, or at least submit the revised budget based on our final allocation at that point. But for now, we are looking to adopt the proposed annual action plan for 2020.
Any questions, comment?
Just, I remember last time we talked about, so you don't have the final allocation, but there's kind of reasonable assumption where like they might fall, right? There's something.
That it's not gonna change like drastically, we
Yeah.
wouldn't. Yep.
Go ahead, please.
And also, you indicated that any changes would, they'd be outlined in case of changes in the federal funding. Would you find information there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other comments? We have a motion. Second?
Thanks. Go ahead.
Mr. Palmer,
I'm not second.
Okay, I'm gonna second. All in favor? Aye, thank you. The next item is a home ARP needs assessment with CARES of New York.
So this is also funding that's coming through the American Rescue Plan Act. It's being administered by HUD, and it is to basically come through the home investment partnership. We have a consortium with Troy and Colony where we manage our home funds. This particular funding is for COVID response, and it's also to address homelessness and provide the housing needs within the housing consortium. We are looking to work with CARES in New York. They manage a lot of data in the region, and they work with Schenectady, Troy, and Colony in the management of that. So we are proposing that because we need to do a needs assessment to provide the analysis of homelessness, the risks of homelessness, and vulnerable populations in all three areas. We'd like authorization for the mayor to enter a contract with CARES to conduct that needs assessment and come up with an allocation plan for this funding. So this is separate from the other ARPA funding.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering, in Troy and in Albany, will they also be contracting with CARES and?
Troy is part of our consortium, but Albany is contracting with CARES as well. Yes. So Troy will be part of this, actually.
So is it an additional, like, are they keeping in 45,000 as well, or I guess that's what I'm.
We have an overall allocation that gets split between us, Troy, and Colony. That's the reason why we get the funding, because our city is not of the size to get it on our own.
Right.
So yes, it's gonna come out of the pot that goes to all of us for this service.
Okay. But I mean, I guess I'm not really clear. Are we paying CARES only $45,000 as a consortium? Or is
Yes.
it- Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Thanks. That should have worked. That didn't. Sorry about that.
Any other comments? May I have a motion? Second, all in favor? Aye, thank you. The next item is the Environmental Facilities Corporation Engineering Planning Grant. Mr. Hart. Good evening.
What you have tonight is the acceptance of a $50,000 engineering and planning grant from EFC. This grant will be utilized to evaluate the flow along the Water River, especially in areas of Washington Avenue, Riverside Park, areas of SCCC, and also down by the wastewater treatment plant to see the impacts as the river comes up, any abandoned sewer lines that are impacting our collection system, which causes, I&I issues with regards to the sewer collection system. It's a 20% match on the grant. It's going to be 50% money, $50,000, and the total of the contract with Puff Harbor was $98,000 and some change.
So the contract is 98,750, the grant is 50,000.
Correct.
You're saying a matching of 20%, 10%?
You have to match a minimum of that.
Oh, minimum, okay.
Minimum of that, correct. But because of the expensiveness of this along the Hawk River, from Washington Avenue, like I said, it will include part of SCCC, the flooding that goes in that area around Washington Avenue pump station, the old pump station, and all the way down to the wastewater treatment plant, because of the influx that we have in our collection system. And we get a lot of influence from the river, we believe, when the river comes up to a certain elevation, and it floods our system, which creates a lot of problems in those areas.
Mr. Colin, I saw your name on here. You have any comments?
No, I drafted this
Oh, okay.
for the solar fund since he was out last week. Yeah, so it's, you know, it's,
Okay.
as Mr. LaFont says, 20% match. The project itself, because the extent is more expensive. So even though we're gonna get $50,000 and we have to contribute 20%, the cost of the project is why it's $98,750. We have to pay that. But we're still getting, you know, essentially.
Right. So we have a preliminary report generated from CHA.
Any comments, Porterfield?
So we're gonna pay the 48, the difference.
Correct.
So under the recommendation, it says that the mayor would execute all agreements, but what we contribute would not go beyond the 48?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? May I have a motion?
I'll move it. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Connor.
The next item is fill in vacant position with ARPA allocated fund. Ms. Porterfield?
Thank you. As we know, the many of the city departments and staff, the members also funding the ARPA to fill those vacancies. So I did speak to the mayor regarding this, and so what I want to just bring forth is like how we talk about how that happens. And I did ask Mr. Ferrari to give us a list of the vacancies, and so you should have that before you as well. It doesn't, of course, does not include police and fire.
Or SOAR either, SOAR's not.
And SOAR, and you're not here either?
Yeah, I had a chance to speak to Paul about it, so.
Okay.
Number of vacancies.
So I know that there's interviews for various positions, but I just really want to bring this forward so we can start talking about how we get our staff back up so that the folks that are here aren't as overworked. It's because we're hearing a lot. So I know that Mary Ann, I don't know, there may be more Mr. Ferrari indicated, but and Ms. Ali was not able to provide the extensive list. She's out this week. So I want to just bring this forward so we can, have a conversation about how we can help, facilitate getting more employees for the city. So I open it up with any comments or.
So maybe,
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, please.
yeah, I was thinking, so, are you want me to the job fair or?
That would be a question for the mayor.
We have not looked at that. We're doing recruitment through a number of sites, and some of the areas are specific technical backgrounds that are required for them, and there's just a difficulty in the market right now for hiring people in general.
Yeah, everyone's short staffed.
So if anybody has anybody, send them over.
Go ahead, please.
So that was my question. What as a council can we do to support that individually,
So
collectively?
it's again to just get the word out for the openings. And again, some where there are higher level technical requirements, it's just knowing somebody with that particular level of skill or expertise.
Are these posting?
They
Ready
are
to go
all-
online?
They are all our posted.
Can that link be shared to the council so that we can help?
I didn't hear the question.
I was asking if these job openings were posted, and if the link can be shared so that the council, we can help. So
And there's
spread-
some of it, it's the technical posting that we do, some of the contracts, which are as simple as putting it in the bulletin board here and notifying unions. The other one's reaching out to LinkedIn, I think the other site we use.
Indeed.
Indeed, to post the job description.
We go to colleges, we go to universities.
Done some of the college recruitment offices, and then Mr. LaFont has done ongoing recruitment for some of those entry-level positions in the Bureau of Service, which we've had difficulty getting people, and in one of the areas of what we do with the CDL license.
Go ahead, please.
Would that be the motor equipment operators, medium?
Yeah.
I mean, that is like 13, 14 people down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
52718 right here. Yeah, if that can be shared, we'll help, you know, post it on social media, post it to organization and or email or contacts. Thank you. Go ahead,
I was
please.
just wondering if it's updated on, if it is currently updated on the website. I wasn't sure if it was.
It just was we had all the jobs posted, but just recently, we had to take them down because they ran out. And then when Mary comes back, she's gonna repost them again.
Okay, and
Yeah,
since that's another way to.
Yeah. That's how I would put it, but it's not updated at this point in time, and that's why I asked the question.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
So I don't know like what our the capacity is for the city to like, you know, organize that, you know, like something for job fair, or maybe like, even, at the market, maybe like table, maybe just to have people come up, you know. So there's, you know, actual step instead of just, you know, kind of like putting it out there. I mean, those two things you have to run, use people in your network, or maybe there's something that's really specific to recruiting people. But I don't know what the capacity is, and I mean, I know, you know, would be more willing to help, but I don't want, you know, I don't know exactly how that would look. I don't want, you know, end up overstepping.
You got people send my way.
Go ahead.
So to follow up with that, so we do have like on the second 7 days of the month, we do have a table at the Green Market. So would you be open to having applications and all the information there?
Sure.
So we could do that on the second Sunday. I don't know if Kids Arts Fest is a good place for it, because that's coming up too. But they have hair.
You're gonna have your exactly.
And Juneteenth will be
Yep.
a huge day. Last year, tons of things.
Any other, go ahead, please. Sorry.
So it's more or less a comment. I think it's really important to take alternative approaches to filling some of these vacancies, specifically from my position and my civilian capacity. This definitely contributes to employee satisfaction, and the last thing we want to see good employees who are being asked to do more, being task saturated with trying to make up for some of these vacancies, which I would imagine have been open for a significant period of time, but definitely willing to do my part in participation with the other council members to assist our staff in any capacity that we can.
Okay. So just to recap, so we're gonna get some link and updated information on these posting and then.
No, sorry, this is the way this week, you're gonna do a better answer.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. Any other business for finance?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
I would call up our government operations award. Two items on the recommended. Mr. Blueberry.
Yes, thank you. This is an item here that we have been doing over the last several years. And I'm just bringing this to the council for us to do it again one more time. Not one more time, but for this year. And asking for your, your approval to let's get this going as a fee waiver for all exterior work for up to 4 units on residential properties. We have done it over the last several years, it's been a success. And I think we just need to continue to do it and to benefit our neighborhood and the homeowners in our neighborhood as we turn to give back to the community. This is one of the many ways that we can give back to the community by doing this waiver during the period of, I'm asking that we do it June, July, and August of this year. And it's going to run for 3 months. One other question I was looking over my notes, Mr. Colden, you had mentioned that in the ordinance is 1 year. The permit is valid for 1 year instead of 6 months. Sorry, I didn't get a chance to call you, but I was looking at
Yes.
detail last year.
Cities, those permits are valid for 1 year.
So we can put this for 6 months. We have to go with what the ordinance says.
That's what it says in the code. So our building permits are good for a year, electrical plumbing 1 year. So when we, for example, even when we sell properties right to an investor and they have 6 months to rehab it and they pull their permits, that permit's good for a year. We have a separate agreement that we hold them to, but, yeah.
So that's the only thing I have to change here based on Mr. Colding guidance.
What is that change?
Yeah, I'm not really saying that.
It's at the back of the page.
Oh, okay, all right, I'm
All the
sorry,
years
I'm sorry.
we've been carrying it after 6 months.
Gotcha.
Based on feedback from Mr. Colding, we'll have to change that instead of 6 to 1 year. 12 months. Yeah.
Yep.
Any questions?
Yeah, usually we get a report of last year or the year before, you know, a couple of years worth of data. I didn't see that.
I do, I didn't get a chance to share it, but I will share it. I can. It wasn't much last year, it was $4,100 for roofing, and about $2,000 for building, something around there.
How do we get the word out to our residents that we're doing this?
What we do, and this is something that we talk about over the several years, is that we talk to the neighborhood association, we talk to Sun, we put it on our social media, we reach out to our organization and let them know that this program is in place. Please, take advantage of it. That's what we've been doing over the years.
And we should probably include SLIC. That's good, it seems very connected to landlords and homeowners,
Okay.
or I should say property owners.
Any other questions, comments?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
So, next we have, filling vacancies on city boards. President Forster.
Thank you. So, because the city has numerous boards and committees that we ask people to volunteer, and some are paid to be on, and we do have some vacancies. There was a particular board that was unable to convene because they just could not get a quorum. So it's really, felt like it's really time that we need to take a look at the board, see what the vacancies are, and then move forward with recommending people. In your packet, you will see what is the mayor's appointment, what is the council's appointment, and then what's the mayor's appointment with the council approval. So, by that, we would either do that ourselves if it's just a council approval, like the board of assessment review. But the ones that are mayor appointments, obviously, that's up to the mayor. And the ones where the mayor, the council approval, we can take a look at, and then we can forward names. And then, the mayor would take a look at those and then we bring it back to us and we would, then approve it. If you had an opportunity today, there was an article in the Times Union about the Civilian Police Review Board, and one of the comments made by the chair was that they were down members and therefore were unable to meet sometimes. I know they were supposed to have a meeting this past week, and because of the lack of a quorum, they were not able to meet. And if you may remember at the rail, there was a person that came forward and specifically spoke about the Affirmative Action Committee that hasn't met in several years. It's not on here, but that's another one, and then we definitely need to be able to take a look at that. And all the other boards, is this the entire list of them? I will ask Mr. Sullivan that question.
There are a lot of boards and commissions that have been created over the years that are not on that list.
Okay, right. So we'll get the entire list to the council, and whatever the vacancies are.
Boards that were created decades ago, though, that wouldn't necessarily be relevant.
Okay, well, the ones that are relevant.
Then you got it. That's the
Okay.
list.
Thank you.
I was wondering, when I was looking at this today, the ethics, the Board of Ethics, is that a mayor role or a council or both? So it doesn't say, it doesn't say. Am I
It's,
missing it? I couldn't find it.
That's both.
CA.
Appointed by the mayor and approved by the council, confirmed by the council.
So it's a map out. Okay, I didn't see that anywhere on here.
Okay, and I'll make sure that we get the updated list and who does what. Sorry, oh, thank you. I do notice that a couple of these may not be up to date, like it says, like, under the civilian CPRB, I know that the NAACP, didn't we recently vote on bringing someone on board there?
Yes.
For the Civilian Police Review Board?
I don't believe there's vacancies there. People are saying there are vacancies, but they haven't filed resignation. So as far as I know, the members still are serving. And
Well, there's one holdover that, because I asked, the woman who's chairing, and she said there's somebody who They didn't make it known to us apparently, but she's held over. She's finished her 2 terms and she could, but they held her over because they didn't have anybody else.
Well,
appointed there.
that's, I assume you're referring to my appointment.
Yes.
She wanted to continue to serve, the council wants to raise an objection, I think she's highly qualified. And the rules on the public officers law are somebody continues to serve until their successor is appointed and qualified. So she hasn't told me she doesn't want to serve. I'm happy with her performance.
So, but are we going to be governed by the legislation, which says 2 terms?
The council wants me to remove her, I'll consider it.
And then I also was going to comment in the same way, because it does seem as though they only have the 1 vacancy, so if they're not having a quorum, then it must just be that folks aren't showing up for the meetings, which is a little bit different than lots of vacancies, so they need a quorum. So, I don't know. Just saying.
Well, from my brief conversations with the chair, it's difficult for them to address those attendance issues if they can't perform. So
If they can't have a quorum.
right, so the lack of quorum makes it difficult to address some issues that are existing on the board.
I get that, that's a good one.
But then again, it's worth commenting that just due to, just due to us exiting or getting to the tail end of the pandemic, virtual meetings took a significant toll on participation on a lot of our boards. So I think it's important to remind the city that we need a continual influx of just new bodies and new ideas and concepts. Just because there's been a lot of members who have just been task saturated. It's a lot. So definitely, I think actively looking at some of these vacancies and making valiant attempts to fill them, I think will assist those that are currently serving and then ensure that they are meeting on a consistent basis to do the business that they're intended to be conducting.
That was my question. I wonder how much of these vacancies or how the pandemic's really impacted people's ability to serve on these different committees. And how do we support that, hold in mind that, this has impacted people's lives greatly in a lot of different ways. So we want to, give some grace and flexibility on that as well. Okay. Any more questions, comments, support?
I just wanted to bring up the CPRB. We did also decide that people had alternates, that we get alternates as well. So I'm not sure, I know one of these organizations that has an alternate, so we would want to make sure that we also say to them that please give us a name for the main person and then an alternate.
I know the league has an alternate that they had submitted.
Okay.
Any further discussion on that?
Just under the golf advisory committee, I did resign from that.
Okay, so you're gone?
All right.
They throw a going away party for you.
So there is a vacancy there for you? There's 2 vacancies.
So that would mean 2, correct?
Okay. So I'll, it's mine, he wants to his hand
Oh,
up.
I didn't see it.
Just on the rosters that you had submitted in the materials, that was from January, so there have been changes since then. So I can circulate a new updated summary to everybody.
That would be great. That's it? No, that was gonna be, I was gonna ask if we get a new updated list, so we can answer that question, and then we can move forward from there and suggest names to the mayor, or if it's ours to put on these boards or committees. So thank you for your consideration and for your interest.
With that, go to adjourn, government operations.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
I'd like to call to order city development and planning. We have 6 items on the agenda. The first item on the agenda, award bidding contract furnishing hydrants 2022 to the water department. Mr. LaFawn. Hello.
This legislative request is to purchase fire hydrants for the city's water department. Our current inventory is getting low. We have less than 10 hydrants in stock. So this is replenished. We do every year. We replenish some of our brass goods. In this case, it's fire hydrants. There is a long delivery. We will probably be hard pressed to even see them hopefully this year. So hopefully we get the order in. There was one bidder, Ferguson Waterworks, in the amount of $167,212, and would come out of the operating budget code FX 8322-211.
Are there any questions?
I'll move this.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you
Mr.
very much.
LeBlanc. All right, the next item on the agenda is award bid contract for the Schenectady Police Fire Department, Schenectady Police Department firing range. Contract 1A. Mr. Wellman.
Thank you. Several weeks ago, I was here in front of you awarding 3 contracts regarding the firing range. One was for HVAC, one was for plumbing, and one was for electric. This is the 4th contract which was not awarded because we did not receive any bids. The issue with the original bid was that it was called SPD firing range ventilation and reconstruction. We think the ventilation kind of threw people off. So we repackaged the bid, we put it out just calling it SPD reconstruction. We received 2 bids for the general contract portion of the work. One from R&B and one from Gallo. The low bid was Gallo, $232,000. We did call on them and we had some references checked by our architect. They are a reputable firm in the area and we're comfortable moving forward as they are the last contract that we need to actually move forward with the project as a whole. So.
Are there any questions?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Wellman.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is summer youth employment. Mayor McCarthy, Councilmember Farley.
Mr. Farley.
Yeah, so this program, you know, the mayor has been working with the school district and myself putting together, it's a really important program, and you know, we've been kind of fighting against the clock here, so we've been kind of laying against, like, you know, making sure that we're doing things being really intentional to get the most impact. That requires some planning, and on the other hand, time is ticking because, you know, summer's approaching, right? So, you know, in the meantime, you know, what I've been doing is, you know, trying to reach out to some community partners to help with the capacity for this. So as we do it, we can do it and still maintain that larger community impact, and not try to overstress, you know, the city's capacity and our school district's capacity. So what I want to do, if it's okay, is I want to kind of bring this back for our next cycle, provide a little more background information and give a progress report at that point, because I know the mayor has been really advocating for this to happen as well as I've been, and I appreciate that because this is really important for our country, but it's sort of doing it right.
I would be happy to pass it this evening instead of delaying it anymore. I have had some familiarity with this type of work, and I know, you know, setting up a table in the cafeteria and taking applications, and it's just so important because it will pay kids that, you know, need the resources, and it also gives them job skills and workplace skills. So I'm completely in favor of this, and I'm wondering why we wouldn't just move it tonight.
Sure, so my thinking around why not moving it tonight is more so, first of all, I guess I was sort of saying, like, we're working on it now, so it's not like we have to wait we're not waiting to move it in order to like kind of put the things in place that need to be there. So, you know, this is a good program that is going to be super important to our youth. So we're already having meetings, talking to community partners. I've talked to everyone, and, you know, and anyone I've talked to seems to be really a strong supporter of it. So, but when I bring it here, I want to make sure that we have our T's, you know, crossing our I's dotted. I think that that's important as well. So again, it's something that we want to make sure that we are able to list some of our partners, some role clarification, and things like that. I think it's important to have before we pass it out.
My understanding, you had a proposal for this, so isn't all that stuff kind of in line, or am I thinking of something different?
Concept was being more engaged with the educational process earlier in the year, helping with teachers, students, what my original concept was in discussion with the superintendent, I would be hard pressed to fully implement it at this point, only because of the time we've used. But as Mr. Farley pointed out, there is a broad-based interest in this, and how do we bring community partners in, again, identify students and young adults to give them the opportunity during the summer to make some of this money. Again, there's still people that are adversely impacted by COVID. Hopefully we can target some of that so that it puts money in these households and the families that otherwise don't have it, and leverages educational opportunities within the school district, and creates complementary engagement with what Ron Gardner is doing to map out some of these career paths, so that when kids either are in high school or graduate, or they're 20 years old or so, can find a pathway to become the most successful and contributing members of society.
So, as I understand it, so you're saying that there's already work being done, and then it's not like we're waiting for you to.
Oh, no, yeah, no, that's work to be done, absolutely.
And then,
I'm not aware of some of that work.
that's my, and I actually had that, I was asking Mr. Farley about, I know that you met, is my understanding, you spoke, how about that?
Back in January.
Oh, okay. So, to have those conversations and make sure that we have everything together at the time, including the mayor being involved in that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, my intention here is to make sure that we're not the right partners in order to make sure that we can have that larger impact that we want to have. Because time is ticking, so it is something that we have to be intentional about, around making sure that we have the capacity to impact as many people as we can. So that's really what's happening now, if that makes sense.
Yes, Mr. Trillo.
Who are the community partners that you're reaching out to?
So right now, we reached out to SJTA, and I spoke about that some time ago in committee meeting. Actually, I mentioned that about, because they have kind of the infrastructure to they do this, right? So it makes really good sense to tap them to say, being that we are kind of in a short window of time here, you already have the infrastructure, you already have the ability and the capability to do this. Having them as a partner at the table makes a lot of sense, and will ensure that we can, have that larger impact.
Are they ready to move yet?
So yeah, they voiced strong support the project. They're looking to be part of the project. But what I wanted to do is bring them together with the mayor and the superintendent to kind of go over some of the finer points and make sure that we have everything in order.
Because 2 weeks from now is Memorial Day, so you're looking.
It'll be on the 6th.
June 6th, yeah, with school being out shortly around there.
Yeah.
Get the applications back in from the kids, interview them, and.
So there's been interest forms have already gone out, right?
Okay.
The interest forms have gone out some time ago, right?
So, and let me just also add that the application process that they already do, they'll continue to do. So I've not seen a year where they lack for kids. I've seen I've seen a year where they lack for positions. So, okay,
Doesn't matter.
go ahead, Mr. Holly.
So I'm a little confused, because I thought this was gonna be separate from the county program.
Yeah, my intent was to hire them directly through the city.
So then, any forms that been sent out really have nothing to do with this program, or?
No, they absolutely do. So partnering with the county on this. So the county does some program every summer. They do this. This is what they do. So what we're trying to do, what I'm trying to do, is leverage some of their expertise and their, they have the foundation to do these things, right? They do this. So what I'm saying is to leverage them and bring them in as a partner to where it makes sense. And make sure that we can reach a larger group of kids in a short period of time that we have. It just makes sense to partner with them, not for them to, completely take this over, or it's just, that's what they do.
Yes.
I just would have some concerns there just based on some previous experience. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I do think we have the capacity as well through our HR office to be hiring and running this program ourselves. I'm just saying, that's almost like giving $300,000 to the county in a way okay.
No, in fact, and I think that kind of like to our point earlier, our previous discussion about the, all these vacancies that we have in the city right now are struggling to get people into roles and jobs right now. I think that now it's extremely important that we look to partner with the county and the school district so we can leverage those partnerships to make it more of a meaningful experience for the youth that are involved.
So my understanding is if youth here, it would have been the school district on this? The
Pardon?
money would have gone through the school district on this?
No.
No, would it go through the city?
Right.
Okay. Mr. Mudavari?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that question because sometime back, the school district did send out application, a link to an application, quoting that the city of Schenectady and the school district is partnering to run the summer youth employment program.
So this SJTA, this was going to be, the whole concept was to start at the beginning of the year and work with teachers to work with the students to have them come up with like a business plan, to have them pick a problem or a project within the community that they would map out a scenario, not only as individuals, but collectively, to work on and solve during the summer. We would then hire them to implement that project. And they would have to do a business plan, have to do a budget, working with the teachers, learning process, there'd be some review on it. I am in a decided disadvantage at this point in the year to be able to implement that. It's not going to have the full impact of what I originally intended.
I mean, I'm putting this on HR already, have so much work and so many vacancies to fill. Adding a 75 new position on HR, isn't that
But I can
over
hire,
capacity?
I can hire teachers during the summer, have it there. It is a narrow window, it is a targeted group. And where we have those vacancies, the other thing I would ask you is, who has an item that we're not doing? You know, garbage gets picked up, potholes are a little bit behind on, we hired an outside contractor to supplement that. We're still getting the work done, and we're proud of the effort that the city staff is doing. Our police response is not at the level I would like. Calls back up, but they are priority 3 calls, so it's getting a report. It's more of the support function that the department does that we're not responding to as fast as I would like. But priority 1, priority 2 calls, the closure rate on major cases is still very impressive. But this we could have, may have. I'm not 100% sure because of the timing. And when you pass it, we still have to set up a contractual way to get the money, and it's similar with the other things that the council has entertained to be able to actually implement them and move them forward.
Mr. Williams?
So I know as a council, although I imagine people are directing it at specific council members, but we've been highlighted as being slow to action. I think it's important to highlight that if we continue forth with discussions about spending ARPA money, as we have an advisory committee that a majority of us elected to support, I think it sends a very mixed message about continuing to spend money absent their opinions. I would like to highlight and say thank you to Councilmember Farley for wanting to keep this on the agenda in 2 weeks to get more information, because I think if we're going to send that message, having all the facts are important. And I know that we want to make sure that we're doing the best to support our youth in the city, but I also want to make sure we're not doing it at the expense of people that have been taking the time to go through these submit applications to make sure that as a city, the community has not only a vested interest, but has a valued voice in this. So, but to the mayor's point about still being able to get the work done, I hope that's not the message that our council is conveying to people that are listening. Absolutely, I see all of the completed projects that are going on absent these vacancies. I think it's just making sure we're taking account of how much burnout that is being borne by the members of the city, and whether that's us continuing to function with these vacancies has an implication on our long-term ability to function as a city. So I think it's just making sure that we're intentional with filling these vacancies, and we're doing it in a manner that continues to add resources to the city staff and not replacing.
Mr. Farley?
So, yeah, so as I'm kind of taking in people's perspective here, it's like, I think it's important to note that two things can be true here, and I don't think that we're, too far apart on what everyone's intention is here, is to, really impact the lives of people who have been most disproportionately impacted by COVID, to your point, Mayor, and I appreciate that. So I think that we do that by, making sure that we have the capacity to do it the right way, do it very intentionally, and I think that we're still in a position to get it done that way. I don't think that these are two conflicting chain of thoughts here. I think what I'm hearing is just, the urgency and the necessary urgency on behalf of the mayor and myself and all here to make sure that we make these resources available to the community. And so I just think that that's a good distinction.
Mr. Coleman?
So there's two separate things. First of all, the vacancies are completely separate from this. And honestly is a totally different discussion. With regards to the kids, I mean, historically we've had tremendous amount of students that want to work. It's a lot different than the vacancies. So assuming that holds, and there's no reason to think it wouldn't, there's no reason the city can't facilitate this and get kids hired and out there and working. It's, again, two very separate discussions. I mean, the kids want to work, they want to get experience, they want to get out there doing stuff, and quite frankly, it's to our benefit because we can get them job skills that maybe they can have a great career with the city, and to me, that's, to your point, a win.
However, but what the mayor's, you're saying that just hiring kids to work, and what the mayor's saying, them coming with a business proposal, so that's two different things. And I would have to say that being understaffed would definitely impact this, because you're asking the staff to do not only what they do, but also to supervise whatever youth are in their program. So that is additional. I can speak from personal experience. I actually ran summer programs for several years. So it is, and the people who had to do their job, and in addition to supervise young people, it is more. So there is an additional ask of staff when you add staff to them, especially young people who are maybe just learning job skills. Yes, Ms.
Which is, I think, I mean, again, I have a lot of respect for the program that the county runs and have worked with them for years. But I do know that one of the issues I think that they have in trying to get the kids hired is what Ms. Porterfield is saying, which is you are they're going to nonprofits, for example, and saying, would you hire a kid? And most of those people are saying, no, we're too stressed, we can't take on another kid and have to supervise a kid on top of that. What I thought was going to happen with us having our own program, and this is different than what the mayor had initially proposed, I would see, for example, so you get 30 kids that you hire for the summer, and they're out collecting litter every day in our parks. Or you've got kids that are running programs in our parks for other kids, maybe through the Boys and Girls Club or something. But that it's really more, it's not that we're saying, okay, one kid's going to go here and one kid's going to go there, but that rather we're hiring like a bunch of kids. And so therefore it's not necessarily that, the kids are going to Anthony's office or, you know, Chris's office or something like that, where it does put more stress on our staff, but more that they're maybe taking over some projects that we need to get done in the city. Because you know, I definitely agree that it's too late to be able to do the whole business plan idea. But that there are other alternatives where it's a city-run program in city parks or whatever for bulk of kids. And, you know.
Yeah, I mean, no, I
Go ahead.
was gonna say, no, again, I don't think that we're necessarily saying two completely different things.
Right.
I think, you know, what I'm trying to be clear on is that, you know, leverage, like when you said, like, you know, the Boys and Girls Club, was like, the student work in there, so, you know, we partner with the Boys and Girls Club because they have the capacity and the skill set to facilitate these type of things, so it's like, of course, we take them as a partner. With SGTA, and with the county, there's also a component of staffing job coaches, success coaches,
Right.
who really support our students. So not only are students, you know, getting the job skills, but they're also, you know, getting some real-time coaching around like how to navigate that, which gives them a greater chance of success as far as, you know, to that larger goal of finding gainful employment later on. That job success coach is a really big part of that. So with those, you know, when you keep those things in mind, it's like, okay, doing that with that level of intentionality is what's going to give the kids a greater chance of success instead of, you know, and not that there's anything wrong with picking up there, because you know, I think it's a great thing, but if they're in a position that is more meaningful to them, supported by a caring adult who has some experience in this area, you know, that's going to give them a greater chance of long-term success and entering into that field, like, to the mayor's point. So that's why, so there's those key things that I think that really need to be kind of ironed out in order for it to be successful. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's obviously a lot of people who are seeing this from different angles. So I think that to take the time to do that and bring it back and to have meetings with the mayor and whatever the other city partners are. And I do want to speak to we talk about we want children to have opportunities, to be exposed to things, but to hire a bunch of kids to pick up litter is not what I envision for this, or it's not a fun thing. I mean, we do it because we have different, you know, organizations, or different cleanups, etc. But I would not want to hire a group of kids with the specific purpose of your goal, your job, all summer long is to go around and pick up litter. You know, I've had kids who participated in our litter pickups, and some of them didn't want to be seen by their friends picking up litter.
So I was going on the sort of WPA model of past and of our youth, where we did do those kinds of things, and it was more of a community, you know, you're getting paid for something that you might otherwise do as a volunteer. I brought the Boys and Girls Club people in. I would see that as a component of any program that we had, where they were doing the job coaching and teaching those workplace skills as well, no matter what the job was. But I mean, many cities, you know, will have a youth corps that can go out and do the kinds of projects that then are really helpful to the city and the beautification of the city, and it's a perfect summer kind of opportunity for them. And it really is getting at that skill. So, I mean, that's how I was envisioning this. So obviously we have different opinions on it, but, so it may be better to wait till next summer and put the thing into place.
The term might be landscaping or picking up.
Well, no,
It's one
that's-
component of it, but you have to either plant flowers, grass, or something,
Exactly.
so people understand the sequence of events that build sustainability and
Right.
real value.
Mr. Farley?
I just think because, at no point in my conversation with the mayor, with, you know, picking up litter, you know, the focus, you know, for the young people, you know, was really, really clear about young people coming up with some of their own ideas to how they can implement, and that could include, you know, some cleanup, some planting, you know, a variety of different things, but, you know, the point here was to make it something that you are going to buy into, that's going to give back to the community and help them become gainfully employed, hopefully in that area of interest. And you do that with partnerships and job coaches and, you know.
So that's a way longer process than anything we're talking about, my guess is, I
But it
just
is-
don't
it
see
doesn't
that
have
we'll
to be.
pull it off by the end of June.
No, we couldn't, where we're at right now, we couldn't, but tapping into people in our community who have some capacity, partnering with the right people, we can do that.
So I see this coming back on June 6th,
Yeah.
is it? So we'll have to, and I would hope that in time, any meetings that are taking place, any details will be worked out, something that's conceivable that can't happen this summer.
And I'd be happy to assist as well with you on.
Surprised. Okay.
Thank you for the input and the discussion on that.
I will be in contact.
Oh, are you leaving? Okay.
Thank you very much.
So the next item on the agenda is the cannabis presentation by the New York State Office of Cannabis Management. All of you should have received an email from, that Sam would have forwarded, from the young lady, Neveline White. And so they've reached out to the city and asked that there be we help put on a public presentation. They would do the presentation, that we help by marketing it and getting the word out there. This is something, when we talked about this back in, I believe it was February, I mentioned that there had been community conversations. Those community conversations took place virtually, and now they're doing them in person. So they've already done one in Albany and are trying to get Schenectady and Troy and to do that as well. So they, again, sent an email to all of us. There's some of the information in there. If you look, I'm sure you'll find an email, and they'd just like to come to Schenectady and do a presentation somewhere at a public venue so that the community can come out and understand all of the opportunities, what the mission is, and what this really means. And quite frankly, this is really specifically targeting people who were negatively impacted by sale of marijuana and have gone to jail or family members have been impacted. That is the particular focus of this. So I was bringing to the council to see if you want to participate collectively in helping to support this. They will find the venue and do all the work hours and bring their staff to do everything. And the only ask of us would be to help market it and make sure that the public knows about it. So I open that up for discussion. Mr. Williams?
The decision to not opt out definitely predated my joining the council. Being a member of this council currently, I think it's important for us to send a unified message to the city that choosing to remain in, we are willing to become or remain vested partners in this. I think that only occurs if we are informed and collaboratively working with the Office of Cannabis Management to make sure that whatever programs are rolled out to our city actually reflect the intent of the program designers. So I very much appreciate this individual reaching out. I think without having the ability to view how this message is properly conveyed to the community, I think it's starting off on the right foot. And I would happily like to support in any fashion that I can as a council member, and also just a resident of the city, to make sure that when these licensures are awarded, that whatever member is recipient of this, it reflects, again, the intent of this program.
Anyone else? Mr. McGovern?
Yeah, is it possible that we can invite them to do a presentation to the council so we can able to get the message out through our online live feed? And at the same time, we work to help them to do a public outreach,
So not instead of, but both?
to do a presentation to the council that can,
I'm sure that we
live
can,
stream and people will be aware of what's going on.
I'm sure that we can do that. In the email that was sent, they also indicated that there's currently a public comment period, which ends on 31st. So that's something that if we're open to, we should get that information out to our contacts. That may just the email itself or some part of the email. But so the short answer is yes. I would speak to I've spoken to Ms. White after I got the email. I just wanted to be clear on what they wanted. which is what you see before you. And I'll speak with her again after having brought this before the council to say, yes, the council as a body will do it, or whatever members feel like this is something that we want to make sure happens.
Yeah, I think it would make sense to have a presentation here.
Okay, so are you trying to say before, after, the order doesn't matter to you?
It is
Okay,
the availability on the other side.
okay. Any other input? Are you, okay, I guess what I'm looking for is, are people supportive of, as a council, supporting this to host it, or would you prefer it not be under the city council?
I actually don't really have an opinion, but I think it would be, it's fine to have the presentation.
So in terms of the public forum?
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind having them come to one of our meetings as well.
So you would support both?
Yes.
Okay, that's my question. Mr. Toro?
So, as a council, no matter how we feel about it, I mean, I'm thinking, is it okay for us to kind of promote this?
Well, as a council, we voted to not opt out, so
Right.
we did that.
Right, well, no matter how you feel, so.
Yes.
So I would say, I don't know that I would agree with them needing to give us a presentation. I mean, depending on how long it is, during a council meeting, maybe it's an hour or two. I don't know what their presentation would be. And if there's an open comment, would it be on, where people could actually comment during our meeting?
No. If we had it, it would be at a committee meeting, and there would be no public comment, just
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a presentation.
Just a presentation?
Yeah, and
I'm sorry, we do limit those presentations.
Right.
it would be a review. It would not be 1 or 2 hours.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, I don't know.
They do. And it would be very informative to us as well as the public.
Right, to know what they want to
Know
put out.
what exactly is going on there.
And if you look at the link, the information she sent you, the link gives you a lot of information, a lot of background, and a lot of it, so a lot of it's there already, that may give you an opportunity to formulate questions prior to that, but the information is definitely in the email that was forwarded by Ms. Michael. Mr. Palomino?
Public meeting's fine. I don't really see a need for a council meeting. It seems to me it would be redundant, and we could just take their presentation and either put it on the website, put it on OSM, or both.
And, Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to be, so we have the majority, so I'll reach back out to Ms. White, and we'll shoot. Again, they'll do most of the legwork, it would be just us to market it. They'll even give us some marketing materials, and, and then help disseminate those. So, I thank you for your input on that, for your support. And the last 2 items on the agenda are for executive session for sale of properties. So, it's been motion to recess. So, second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, city government planning is recess. Oh, wait, call it. Who's going?
I am.
Call it.
Sorry. I'd like to call to order. I'd like to call to order claims. And I would like to then say that we need to entertain a motion to go into executive session. All in favor? Oh, I need a second, but I didn't say. Okay. So now, all in favor? Okay, thank you. And so now I would like to also have a recess of claims. Do you want to
No, no, no.
just go into executive session?
We're in executive session now, so
Okay.
I'll just wait for him to take down something.
No.